Hey folks, this is Brian. We just got done playing Not just. It's been probably half an hour now as I tried to shut things down and get things started up and get recording stuff happening. But anyway, we ran a session of RQG tonight, and we are transitioning to a new chapter, if you will, Dragon of Thunder Hills. So spoilers is one of the GM pack um, scenarios. And it's kind of, I don't want to say convoluted because the GM pack's got the scenario, but it ties back to an Elven Patrol, which is on page 42, and it ties back to Tarndisi, which is on page 41, and ties back to the Red Eye Boar, which is on a different page, and so there's this lots of flipping back and forth as I'm trying to keep track of stuff as they're asking questions, that kind of thing. But the bulk of it is right there in the session, which we readdressed the circle discussions at Queen Laika's palace on, okay, what do we do about the dragon? And one of the things that I wanted to get the players thinking about is, well, the scenario's written, the dragon rise, maybe that will woke up these, dragons that are occurring. That's possible, but that was some time ago, and the dragon just popped up burning villages recently, and you guys just did this thing with the Empire Worm's friends and contacting some dragon plane and stuff going on there. Maybe you caused this issue. I didn't really come out that way, but I kind of threw that sparkler out there to see if anybody would grab onto it. So they get the mission, stop the dragon. I'm going to send folks to look into Starfire Ridges, see if they can find where this dragon's hiding. But you guys get to Tarndisi and see if she knows anything. And then she departs. So there's still a circle, so the players can then discuss things with the circle. So that's where we reiterated everything that the Thunder Voice and the Wind Lord? Yeah, Wind Lord and the Thunder Voice, yeah, right? The Rune Lord of Thorhanth Adventurous, the Wind Lord of Orlath Thunderous, and Hastur, the Lawkeeper. Reiterating things back to him about the things I discussed 2 weeks ago that I didn't remember anything about. And after all of that, there's some discussion. Okay, well, it's getting late now. First thing in the morning, we need to take off. As they're leaving, Vasana and her party is there, and they go in to meet with the queen, because my plan is to have that party go searching the Starfire Ridges. And I've been playing this idea of, depending upon where the party goes, there's this competing party, Vasana and her folks, trying to do the same thing from a different direction. So I'm kind of thinking about having them run into the dragon newts, which then provides a separate interaction with the dragon herself. But I'll feel that out as things go along and see how I want to play with that. But then there's a lot of discussion from David on, okay, if you guys give me all of your magic points, I can do negate armor on so many weapons. And while we've got plenty of magic points now, it comes down to time, because he needs time to do ritual to get his skill levels up to make the skill roll, right? And he's looking at a week of doing that. So I kind of plugged in. She said, now. We don't have time to do this. But, hey, we can metagame this. We're a party now. We've had, a whole season of downtime where we could be interacting and going, hey, maybe what we can do is we can set up this thing where every month we get together with David and he casts his negate armor spell on, so many of our weapons, so that if an adventure comes up, we're prepared. But as we start talking about time, and the fact that if you're spending a week in ritual meditation, which is similar to a week teaching somebody a spell, that counts against the 5 weeks of a season you need to have in order to rate your end of season skill rolls. So it's a give and take. I mean, if you want to just bypass those 4 extra rolls, but then I could technically interrupt their training and interrupt their research because they're not at home doing these things. They're out in the wilderness. And so you may lose some more things that way too. So thankfully they decided, okay, well, maybe this is not quite right. Or we can spend 1 week and I can do one weapon. So that's what they decided doing. They did a strength 4, I think it is, on Arestra's axe. And it'll last all season long. So there's a bunch of discussion on that, which reminds me, it's in the live plays. Live plays in the description. We did do a bunch of discussion on end of season phase and some minor catch up stuff. Didn't record any of that. I waited until actually all the players had actually showed up. One of my guys was running late again. And okay, we're actually ready. Let's get the scenario. Okay, I'll turn on the recording. So, excuse me. They head off Black Spear into the forest. I rolled D6 because in the scenario it says they have to make search or tracking rolls to find their way to the center of the grove, right? And if they miss that, they become lost. Is that just one roll? Seriously? Yeah. I rolled a D6. It was a 3. Okay, you need to make 3 rolls. I mean, everybody's there. Everybody can make search rolls as you're traveling along, right? And if you got more one person with tracking, both of them can make tracking rolls, right? Because everybody can help. This is where we need to go. I think we need to go this way. Could there be some arguments? Yeah, like somebody fumbled theirs, their tracking roll. That subtracts from your sex, that kind of thing. But anyway, and in fact, Arvana decides that she's going to just start singing, to help bring that friendliness to the fact that we're entering the forest, right? And a couple other players riffed off of that. Hey, I want to sing too, and can I use harmony to augment? Yeah, let's do that. And so they're going along. So part of the party is singing Earth songs, and the other part of the party is trying to search and track. And they got made the first 2 successes, but fumbled the third one. Okay, they're lost. The elves have been watching them. They've been tracking them, moving along with them. They come out. Hey, who are you guys? What are you doing here? Why have you come to the sacred forest? That kind of thing. They explain. What did they explain? There's a couple of things they were explaining, but they came to seek guidance from Tardisi. None of them were dwarves. None of them are trolls. None of them have iron weapons. So there's none of these negative factors that could affect the interaction. Had them roll the reaction. It was pretty neutral. It's going, okay, they want to visit Tardisi? Okay, leave all your weapons here, and we'll take you to us here. So they acquiesce. Yeah. Some of them are really quick about that. Yeah, whatever you say, we'll do. And then they take her to the forest. And we talked a little bit about the ring of redwoods in the center one that's 83 meters tall. And the elves kind of kneel down, semicircle around the thing, and are talking in Earth speech to hey, we're here. These visitors are come, and she comes out. Little thing about the tree. There's a seam in the tree bark that appears and splits, and she steps out. I forgot to mention in this that she had copper colored skin and the green hair and that kind of thing. But eventually I found that, mentioned it. But so she comes out and speaking with the elves, and she looks at the party members, right? And she's got second sight, and she's got other capabilities. So there's a sun worshiper, Himalayan, and a Beast of Gore is an earth person, and Irvana is an earth priestess, or not the priestess. So, okay, these are friendly types. The highest charisma is the female shaman. The highest male is Juchi, the male Yamalian, and so she which is 17, 1 point short. So she's okay. Let's look at you and have some discussion. And so she speaks to him. He's son of the son. I didn't. I almost said that. Follower of the sun. Why are you here? Why have you come to do that kind of stuff? And some discussion goes on. He's trying very polite, and couple of party members mention as soon as they hear the elves kneel down, they're going to kneel head down. And so Judy's talking about, okay, I'm keeping my face to the ground as I'm talking to her. On occasion I'll kind of look up, see what the reaction is, that kind of thing. And He doesn't have Earth speed, so she's using trade talk to talk to him. And so everybody else can overhear this, and Daven is every once in a while mentioning, "Hey, remember this, remember that." Oh, that's right. They got an amphora, 40 liters of wine, clear wine that they brought with them as a gift, right? So after some discussion on what's going on and stuff, they all sit down. The wine gets broken out. Cups appear from nowhere. Everybody starts drinking, having a good time. Okay, well, what can I do for you? What do you need to know? Because there's some discussion about elves from before. Say it's some positive interaction with elves from this forest before, so it's all fairly friendly. She's not going to push anything, go and do this for me kind of thing. No, they're being polite. They're fellow worshippers, or enough of them anyway, and that kind of thing. So reaction wise, it went well. They actually start coming out with some questions at that point. So there's some discussion. Oh yes, this guy and that guy and this guy. I remember them. Brave but foolish, kings and warriors, that kind of stuff. And yeah, no. Too many ends in there. Um, yeah, he's buried, I believe, the far north. And at that point, I think it was, we had to take a pause because I had to pull some maps up to find out, where the old grave is compared to the Queen's tomb, because I knew the Queen's tomb was on the map I had in the background. Um, so once I found that, I was able to, okay, this is where we are. This it's way up there. I didn't realize it was that far up the Vale. um, so let's get it all straightened out. Um, discussing things, and there was some discussion. Okay, what's her charisma? And I threw 30 out there because I remember seeing a 30 number. Her power is 33, um, but her charisma is 24, and so everybody's, you know, gorgeous woman. Well, obviously she's a dryad, right? She's 900 and some odd years old, right? She's had time to put points into her charisma. She is charismatic. She's not just beautiful, right? And Juchi made a comment that initially I was thinking Juchi's player is seemed to be um what's the word, reticent to deal with reproductive issues in game. And so I was just going to have him, compare your love family to your fertility rune, make a roll. Okay, you're kind of leaning this way, but no, you wouldn't do that because you're married, that kind of thing. But he made some comments that said, okay, no, he's game for it. So as the evening rolls on, elves are getting a little tipsy. She leans over and whispers in his ear. So at the end of the evening, the two of them go into the tree. Okay, so that goes. Juchi's loving it. Juchi's player is loving this. This is some great role playing. He likes this concept, this idea. This is fantastic. Good to go stuff. Everybody else is talking, drinking, having a good time. They crash out here. We're safe here. Go ahead and rest the night. In the morning, you can go about your way. And then after the moon comes up, some of the elves wake up. Or Vana, I forgot why. There was something that Vana had mentioned. And so they're going to take her out hunting plants in the dark, right, at night, right? Not snipe hunting. They're actually going to teach her, go out and teach her, and help her learn things. So they go out, and we spent way too much time trying to find the stupid one-page mechanics on finding healing herbs in your area. It is in the Red Book of Magic, which I was fairly certain it was, but I couldn't find it as I'm flipping through, and so I think maybe it's actually in weapons and equipment. I noticed in one of the new books, because I remember in one of my review videos discussing that particular mechanic, and it's not, I'm kind of hand wave it, sure, but I wanted, let's try the mechanic, let's see how it works. Let's discuss and learn the game, right? So somebody finally found it for me. Red Book of Magic, page 72, or is it 92 or something like that, right? Okay, there it is. Do some dice rolls. She actually found the plant. They're all praising her, that kind of stuff. Oh, and this one's good for this. And it says in other parts, so I'm not sure what that exactly means. But they mentioned, hey, if we were found one with the proper flower, it would be even more potent. But it's potency 6 against the soul wasting disease. It'll keep for about a week. So you'll probably want to turn it into a paste or dry it out into a powder, to keep the potency for longer. But hey, great job, good to go. Plant lore check, that kind of thing, right? Next morning, and there's lots of joking back and forth about uh, Juchi and Tardisi. So next morning, Juchi and Tardisi come out of the tree. They have breakfast, break camp. The elves lead them out of the forest to Black Spear. I take the road up to Apple Lane, and then on there through the Vale up towards the Gijay Hills. It's up there somewhere near Larnstay's table. Okay, so I get to Apple Lane. No encounters in the way. Spend the night. No encounters there because I've still got this whole thing about uh, Pringle Pringle's pawn shop because in my Glorantha, it's still there. So there's still the whole thing with the baboons that needs to happen, and then later on we'll have the lunar assassin come, and then later on it'll get burned down, and then later on there's the backup. So I'm still going to play through that stuff if we ever get a chance to. But no, nothing there. So they decide that instead of going northeast from there, they're going to go over to Redbird, and then straight up. So roll encounters, and sure enough, there's an encounter in that morning on the way over, and I roll, and I'm comparing river to um, hills, or was it valley? There's three of them there. I was looking at. Well, it wasn't King's Road. It was just a merchant path kind of thing. But they're all. It was not three, so they're all three bandits. Bandits, bandits, bandits. We're at Apple Lane, and there's bandits. Who could that be? So I pull out my book, White Eye and his Trollkin, right? And I have everybody roll a d6 for surprise, which I kind of took a piece of this from. Juchi and Jarstakos were the only ones who rolled higher than a 4 because these trolls are setting up an ambush. So they're not surprised. They get a chance to react. They're firing arrows. There's a clump of Trollkin out there. You're going to hit one of them, right? Plus 40. Whack! So they hit a couple of them. Doing a couple points of damage to a leg or an arm here and there. But they're all slinging stones back. But their skill level is really low because it's old RQ too, right? So I may have to adjust that later. But 3 of them hit, including 1 impale. Do you impale with sling stones? People could argue no, it's a crush. It's an impale. But again, it hit 2 of them hit Jarstakos, but Jarstakos in the chariot, and he's got those walls, so we spend another couple minutes. What's the armor protection on your chariot? 16. It's not a war chariot. It's a light chariot. I remember that. So it's 8 points. It did 10 damage total, so 2 points got through, but he's got 6-point armor on his leg, so he doesn't do any damage. But it did hurt the chariot. And then 1 hit Miriam in the chest for 2 points. She had 1 point of armor. And then we did statements of intent because at this point, actually before the combat started, one of the players mentioned, hey, yeah, I'm only gonna be able to last for so long because once you hit midnight, he's completely wiped out. Normally I am too, but I have been working extra long hours at work, so I've been I've been drinking Mountain Dew all week. So I'm up and rolling, and it's 12:30. So okay, we can stop here, and I can kind of plan. But I've got the combat here. But after that first scenario, they're 130 feet away. The troll can sling his stones. White Eye jumps up and he's running out. We're going to need terrain. We're going to need a map, and so we did statements of intent, and that's where we stop the session. That gives me a couple of weeks to make a map, import it into Owlbear, and then get things set up and start rolling with it. All in all, a good session. There's lots of player interaction and NPC interaction, which I know Juchi's player really likes to do this conversation role playing stuff. And, that's part of the game, right? So I'm trying to do more of that. I have a tendency to do hack and slash cavern crawls, but there is this kind of stuff intermingled. This one just started out that way, so it was good. Pretty decent session. Everybody seemed to have fun. Got a bit of information out. Got some interaction. Oh, that's right. Something came up during the conversation with the elves and Tardisi that night. Is there anything we can do for you? And he goes, well, there is this giant boar who's starting to get all riled up north and is rampaging in the forest. If you could take him out, I'd appreciate it. So then there was actually this discussion in the morning about, do we hit the boar on the way to the dragon? No, we need to get the dragon first. We can hit the boar on the way back, because the last thing we want to do is try to attack the dragon when we're all trying to heal up from a boar fight. Happy gaming.